Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I figured why not talk about this subject because I feel like a lot of people are talking about it now because everyone is staying home and being cozy and they're reading with a cup of tea or hot chocolate or coffee. So why not sit back, relax, and listen to my story about how I got into reading. So I got into reading about 6th to 7th grade. 7th grade, I would say. I wasn't a big reader in elementary school. I just did it when I had to do book reports, which, in elementary school is not many. But I was like, it wasn't my favorite thing. I was more of outdoors kids back then, always playing outside and playing video games here and there, Pokemon. So I was never into reading until 7th grade when I got introduced to manga. Now, my first manga that someone told me to read, which I believe was my sister's friend, was Marmalade Boy. So I decided to pick up a copy when I was at FYE years ago. I'm pretty sure it was at FYE. And I just decided to read it, and I fell in love with it. Then in 8th grade, though, so this was the summer between 7th and 8th grade, I started reading manga. Then in 8th grade, I went back to school in the fall, and usually about once or twice a week we had reading hour, and we had to read for about half an hour, pick a book, and just read quietly to ourselves. And so I decided when it was time to just take out my manga from my backpack and just read it. Well, apparently my teacher, who was also my English teacher, did not like it. He came over and asked me what I was reading, and I showed him that it was a manga, a graphic novel. And he snuffed at me and said, "That's not a real book. I need you to choose a real book next time." As a teen, I was heartbroken. I was A, just getting into reading, and B, even during the summer 1st July party, I still remember this. My dad was so excited that I was getting into reading, even if it was just a graphic novel. Even though I shouldn't say that, because I respect all manga and graphic novelists, because they have to write the story and also show you in drawings and paintings. And this is also what I wanted to tell the teacher, that it's not just drawings. There's actually stories and how much the artists have to put into their work. But I bit my lip and I just let it go. He said that I could read it for now, but next time I had to choose a book. So I was heartbroken, and I stopped reading until a couple summers after that. I would say probably, it was sophomore year, I decided to read Memoirs of a Geisha. And I really got into it, and I was actually happy about it. And then also, too, I also read To Kill a Mockingbird, because since it was a reading for the next year, since I was reading it in the summer, to get a little bit of ahead, just to know what I was reading, because that was suggested by my case manager, because I had IEP. So I read both of those throughout the summer, and that's what sparked my love of reading again. And so I decided to keep reading. I read, obviously, through my English classes in high school, and my teacher, Mr. Simone's, bless him, he actually got me into reading, and he gave us all these great literatures to read, and I just fell in love with it again. And he never, even when I wanted to do my junior thesis about Pride and Prejudice, he never even batted an eye. He said, "Yep, go for it." He even said, "Just make sure you don't watch the movie until after you read the book." So I promised him that I would not watch the movie with Keira Knightley until I finished the book. So there was that. But he sparked my interest again, and it was just amazing. Then, obviously, too, when the Twilight craze hit, I began to read Twilight. At first, at the beginning, I thought it was a little boring, but then I posted on a forum, and they said, "Oh, just keep reading it. You'll really get into it. It's a slow start." So I read that. Then I remember reading The Hunger Games as well, and Percy Jackson through college, and Harry Potter through college. I just started reading and reading and reading. Now, most of the time when I was in school, I was reading during the summer because you had to read during school, but English classes were reading. But again, great stories too in some of the English classes. To Kill a Mockingbird. I also read The Outsiders, which I really loved, which was my freshman year of high school. So all these books. Now I'm an avid lover of reading. I do love to read. I actually just bought a Kindle. I finally decided to do it last year because, as you can see, books. And this is not, I have 3 bookshelves. So these are not the only books that I have. So I decided to buy that just to, try to keep as many books in one place as I can and not have as many books because, when you're moving, all these are going to go with me. And it's hard when you move because trust me, bringing all these books and more, hundreds more, it's hard. I'm not doing that again. But again, too, so when people tell me they're not a reader, I just look at them in the face and say, you haven't found your book. I truly believe that everyone has a book that they truly love. My favorite book, which I did 2 projects on, is Pride and Prejudice. So I do love romance, a good romance book, but I also love young authors, Harry Potter, Shadowhunters, Percy Jackson, The Hunger Games. I just feel like people need to find their niche if they want to read. And also now, as I'm reading, usually I have a fiction book and a nonfiction book. I'm trying to learn as I'm reading because I believe we should be learners throughout life. It can be anything from finance, health, productivity that I'm reading. But I also sometimes, I will admit, I do get bored with nonfiction, which is why I also have a fiction thrown in the mix. Because when I started reading nonfiction, I was like, bleh. It just got boring. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to pick 2 books that I'm reading at a time, fiction and nonfiction. That way, if I feel like learning something, I have the nonfiction. But if I feel like, a little spark of imagination, I will have that fiction as well. Something that's fun. Not that nonfiction cannot be fun, because it can be, depending on the subject. But there is my tale of how I became a reader. I still remember that. And every book that I have read, I usually have just loved. There's some books that obviously I'm like, nah, I'm not going to read that again. And if you're not a reader, I really hope this convinces you to just find something to read. And if you need help, too, to find something, ask your friends on Facebook. Go to the library. The librarians are amazing, and they will find you something. But please, read, learn, grow as a person, because studies do show that if you read, you do grow as a person as well, and you show more empathy and sympathy to those around you. So be a reader, spark a curiosity, have some fun, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope to do some more books videos too, because I want to do a video about books I read this year, books I want to read next year, and all that good stuff. So I do hope you find this video fun, and I hope you guys have a good day. Bye!